and welcome to another episode of
Come On Down
with Rich Fields. And I'm Dave Wagner. It's great to have you here today.
You know what, today, Dave, we've gotten so many comments.
I know.
On the various websites.
Isn't that fantastic?
There's almost too many to really go through them all.
Well, should we go through some of them?
Yes, I think we should barrel through them because there's so many.
Yeah, there are a ton of them.
Where do you
here,
want to start? People are writing Dave, they're writing me. You can always go on to our dedicated Facebook page at facebook.com/comeondownpodcast. Leave anything you want there, or you can leave questions right at the bottom of these episodes.
Yeah, so, come on down with the questions.
Come
right?
on down.
Okay. Steve Beer says, what awesome stuff, Rich. One minor correction. He says that Dorothy Jo, Bob Barker's wife, died 1981. Anyway,
oh yeah, 81. I said 85. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, and I've mentioned this before that, and pardon me, I'll even do it during weather. I think I'm saying a low pressure system, and the word high pressure comes out sometimes. You know.
You know what that's called?
What's that called?
Age.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy.
It happens.
So yes, 81. Dorothy Jo passed away in 81.
All right. Also, a couple of quick questions.
Yes.
He says, did I read somewhere that you would audition to host the 1986 revival of Card Sharks?
Wow. Holy mackerel.
That's a good memory, right?
That, and Dave, where this comes from is from a photo that my agents put out way back when, early 90s.
My God, look how beautiful you are there.
And look, see what it's. This was a full page ad in Variety. You know what a full page ad in Variety
It's got to be costly.
Even back then. Successful game show pilot needs Rich Fields, current host on CBS.
Wow.
1990s answer to Bob Barker. Can you believe that?
Wow.
This is long before The Price is Right. This is way before The Price is Right, folks. Yeah. So that's where that come from. That photo. Oh, by the way, here's the original of that photo.
Oh, nice.
And look at the very bottom. See my right hand holding the card?
Yes. What is that?
Well, that has an ace on the back.
Oh.
As like they used to do on Card Sharks.
Yes.
And I think that's where there was some kind of confusion.
Oh, like a sort of little message, subliminal message there. Maybe you had a card shark, you had a card in your hand, so therefore...
They were pitching me for everything.
Oh, okay.
And it could have been designed... You know, that day, I didn't even realize there was, an ace or whatever on the back of the card.
Yeah.
And so these photos get out, and people immediately assume or deduce...
Yeah.
One way or another, that's where it came from. But anyway, so the answer is no. I never got an audition for Card Sharks. Would have loved to have gotten an audition for Card Sharks.
Okay, here's another one. I believe you announced for one of the Florida lottery games, correct?
Correct.
Was that your first foray into game show announcing?
Flamingo Fortune, exactly was. And to have started with Mark Goodson Productions on my very first show. It was a local state lottery game show. I realized it was a smaller show than a Hollywood show. But to start with Mark Goodson Productions on Flamingo Fortune, that really paved the way for that phone call I made to Roger Dobkowitz saying, you don't know me, but I used to work on a Mark Goodson game show.
Yes.
And as soon as you drop the name Mark Goodson in Hollywood.
Oh, of course.
Bam.
Well, that's impressive. He says, goes on to say, keep up the awesome podcast. If I can ever make my pipe dream of writing and selling my game show come to life, you are my first choice as announcer. That's
as an announcer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not push it, Rich.
Okay. All right. Stay in my lane, I guess. You know, that's what Hollywood was saying to me anyway. So.
Okay. This is from William Padron, maybe. William A. Padron.
Okay.
Have enjoyed listening, watching the video podcast there as well. How are some clarifications? Mentions the Dorothy Jo. People are really
81.
People know that stuff, right?
I told you. When I say these things, I always say there's folks out there that know.
Yes.
Here we go. These are the corrections.
You know, we have a producer here in the building too, who also knows. He listens to us. He's like, yeah, over here. Well, at some point we should drag him in. Yes. He said they should have hired your friend M.G. Kelly to succeed Pat on Wheel of Fortune after he left to do his talk show.
Wow, you just blew my mind. M.G. Kelly, you may not be familiar with a lot of Los Angeles radio personalities, but he was one of the originals on Boss Radio KHJ back in the day. Boss Radio. And M.G. Kelly, through his entire radio career, fantastic radio career, he ends up being the announcer of Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, wow.
And then Pat Sajak gets that nighttime job. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Who is this?
That's from James Greek.
Yeah. James, I wholeheartedly agree with you. M.G. Kelly should have gotten that, at least an audition to host that show. You know what? We should have MG on sometime and talk. See, I'm sure he was lobbying to get an audition.
Oh, that would be great. Wouldn't that be fun to have him on?
Let's do that.
You're going to write that down.
I am. I'm
okay,
going
a
to write
little
that
note
down
to
right
yourself.
now. What have you finished with? That piece of paper? I'm going to use that one right
Okay.
there. Okay, MG Kelly. By the way, for all of you watching, I have spoken with Roger Dobkowitz.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No kidding.
Digitally.
Yes.
Back and forth a bunch of times.
Yes.
Roger is ready, willing, and able to appear here
on this.
On Come On Down with us.
Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic.
We're just gonna figure out the vagaries of technically how to get him on. And then it's going to be a done deal.
So from the early days of your breaking and entering to actually meeting the man who made your dreams come true.
Yes, absolutely. Roger, one of the best game show producers I ever worked for, and he cares. He loved that show. He loved Bob, and Roger was a big part of that success. Him and Kathy Greco. So.
I can't wait to talk to him because I have so many questions for him.
Oh, good.
And about you.
I would like to know a few things about me too.
Right.
Like really, I mean, the CBS executive told me 200 people. I think that's an exaggeration that they went through before they got me. I'd like to ask Roger, how many were there?
I bet she has the answer.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Okay. James Greek goes on to say, Rich, I would love to see your audition tape from Price, you hosting. Do you have an audition tape?
No, because remember, I went in and tried to lobby.
Yes, yeah, it was not really.
And they shut me down twice.
Right.
First, Sid Vintage from Fremantle shut me down, and then they brought me up into Barbara Bloom's office, the CBS president of daytime programming, and she said, that is absolutely not going to happen. We need you as the announcer.
Yeah, I mean, so you just went on cold turkey. I mean, you just went on to the show, right?
Yeah.
With no preparation, really.
As the announcer?
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
That's I mean, you've been announcing and doing weather and all that kind of stuff.
But they weren't going to give me an audition for The Price is Right, even if Mr. Barker was to have called them. Remember, we were walking out, Bob and I said, hey, Bob, gosh, after seeing some of the C&D talent, I'm thinking about throwing my hat in the ring. And he was like, you should. He was very almost adamant, like, you should. And so that's what gave me the guts to go in and ask. But they shot me down and said, nope, we looked for you too long. We looked for the announcer too long, and we're not changing that out again. So,
well, how about that?
So
By the way,
I never got it.
Drew Carey's birthday today, did you?
That's right. Happy birthday, Drew Carey.
64 years old.
God bless you. I actually saw part of the show. I haven't seen the show in a long, long time. I'm working here at Channel 10. At WTSP here in Tampa, but I actually I was home a little later today, and I actually got to watch part of the show, so it was nice to see him.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the questions.
I love Drew. For people out there that say, "Oh, Rich, how come you don't talk about Drew?" I do. I mean,
you've
we
talked
showed
about
some memorabilia about him.
Yeah.
I love Drew, and there's things floating around that because of the way we parted.
Right.
Me and the show, I should say, not Drew and I so much that there was no friendship left over, and that's just not true.
Yeah, people read into stuff, and that's easy.
Yeah.
All right. This comes from Keith Wilson. Rich, thank you for this. I am just in awe of your stories and memorabilia. I love The Price is Right as a kid. I can remember watching a couple of years of Johnny, then Rod growing up, and you too. Man, what an honor to have met, known, and worked with Bob Barker. I would always ask for a mic like Bob from Santa, LOL. I remember even writing to him a few times for autographs, but never received one in the mail. Again, that comes from Keith
Wilson.
Wilson.
Get a Bob autograph? I'm shocked, because the production company, Fremantle and CBS and Price is Right, the little production office, all three would send out any time they got a request, Bob's autograph, my autograph, Rod's, anybody. So
really?
I'm shocked he didn't get one. Maybe it went to the wrong address and they never received the actual request.
It could happen. Yeah, because he seemed like he was very attentive to fans.
I might even have, they were all auto-penned.
Oh, were they?
Well, I shouldn't say auto-penned. What they did for me, and I'm sure they did it for Bob, they brought in a blank piece of paper to me, the 8x10 exactly cut of the picture, and then down here they said, sign your name in this box on this white piece of paper. And so I, Rich Fields, like that, and then they took that white piece of paper with that autograph on it, and somehow they superimposed that autograph on my photos. So they did the same thing for Bob. We didn't sign any of them.
I see.
But it looked like black Sharpie on every one of them.
Right.
And I think I still have some of those old Bob Barker photos.
Do you really?
I might. I'll have to look around.
All right.
Who sent that one?
Okay, so
that's James Greg. James, I'll see if I can find one. If I can find one, I will.
James Gibson.
Oh, that was James Gibson?
James Gibson. Yeah.
James Gibson. I will try to find one of Bob, and if I can.
Oh, wait, no. Hang on. I messed up. Keith Wilson.
Keith Wilson?
Keith Wilson.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry.
No worries. We'll look around.
Okay. Here's a couple of others, including one from James Gibson. Let's start with this. This is Ernest Goodwin. they did you dirty by charging you $850 for that poster. I mean, it's worth it.
Oh.
But I feel like you should have gotten it for free because you were a Fremantle employee. But that said, I really like your podcast. You and the other dude have good chemistry.
That's the other dude.
Yeah, I'm the dude. I'm a sucker for behind the scenes TV. The dude.
Dave Wagner.
Yeah,
everybody.
well, you know, I mean, there was a whole movie surrounding the dude, and it did pretty well.
Yes, it still does well.
So being called the dude, I appreciate it.
Well, here's the thing.
I really do.
The $850 for the poster, as he says, which is what you're
saying. And
now.
that's $850, yeah.
Right. They didn't charge me for the poster. This was, what you're seeing on the screen now was used in a showcase. That they gave me for free.
Right.
Lower right-hand corner, the little caricature of me in blue. You see Bob up there? The little caricature of me in blue. That's the artwork that they charged me $850 for.
Right.
Not that poster.
But it's original artwork.
It's original artwork. Now I own it, and you see it on everything I do.
Yeah. It's so cool.
It's awesome.
It's good. It's worth the $850, right?
Yeah, and it's me young, you know, just like petrified forever.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I will say that $850 has inspired Rich to have to work for the rest of his life to pay for it.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right. God almighty, I can't believe they charged me for that.
All right, now to James Gibson.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, I don't know if Mr. Barker has used the spray neuter plug since the beginning of the show, but I remember hearing something about him starting to use it in the 80s at least.
Yeah.
Spay your pet and neuter.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd say early to mid 80s he must have started using.
Yeah.
See, I told you, people will correct me on everything. And I couldn't remember when he started using. Frankly, I didn't know when he started using, but early to mid 80s,
Yeah, okay. Let me see. We have another one from James Greek here. Rich, Adam Nadef, do you know that name? Is writing a book on Monty Hall. Did he interview you?
No, I didn't know there was a book being written about Monty. I was good friends with Monty.
Really?
I used to golf. Here's how it started. I was a weatherman in Palm Springs, and this is long before The Price is Right. And I got an invitation to a golf match in Palm Springs that Monty was hosting.
Okay.
Prolific fundraiser.
Wow.
I think if you look it up, Google this, Monty Hall is the all-time highest earner for charities in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, seeing there's Saudi sheiks that could probably outdo that easily. Monty Hall, it's really all he did.
Really?
Yeah, all he did. I mean, this guy, and it didn't matter the charity. If he would look into it, he'd make, just like Bob, Bob would always make sure that it was a 501c3. If it wasn't an absolute 501c3, Bob would not get involved with it, and that's what Monty would do.
Wow.
So
Cool.
I'm surprised. And then in later years, we're golfing, and Monty Hall actually turns to me and says, I should have had you as the host of Let's Make a Deal, the first reincarnation of it, not the one that the comedian from Drew's improv group. See, this is what happens. I get on live and I can never remember, all the details. Wayne Brady. No, thank God I pulled that one out. Wayne Brady, not the Wayne Brady version, the version before that, because Monty was not happy with the guy, and it was short-lived. And Monty said, "I should have had you do it." And I said, "You're right."
Yeah.
I said, "You're right."
That's good.
So
that's awesome. That's so cool. Okay, and that was from that was also from.
Yeah. So Adam Nadef has not interviewed me. No.
Okay.
Maybe he sees no reason to.
That was another one from James Greek. He likes to write here. And we appreciate it. We do. We really do. John Meisner. Here we go.
Oh, John Meisner.
Yeah. Rick, to refresh your memory, the show that Drew hosted prior to TPIR was The Power of 10.
Power of 10.
Okay.
Remember, I couldn't remember the name of the show?
Yep. They go on a little bit talking about having your pet spayed or neutered, plug sometime in the 80s.
Again.
83, 84, something like that. Totally agree with you when you say that radio people or broadcasters are much better than comedians when it comes to hosting game shows. They have better voices, they listen, interact better with contestants. Comedians always try to go for the laugh and attract attention of making it all about the game. Instead of making it all about the game or contestants like Bob did.
Boy,
Bob was all about the game, wasn't
he? Ding, ding, ding. What did he win, Johnny? Who was that, James Meisner?
Yes.
John
Meisner. Yeah.
John, you hit the nail on the head. Comedians, I'm sorry to say, have the tendency of trying to think of the next thing they're going to say instead of listening to what the contestant or whoever they're. And you're exactly right. Where radio people listen. and we just kind of back catalog what might have been said and what we might pull up after that person's done. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
What about you? I mean, you're an old radio guy. Don't you believe the same?
I think so. You know, I think, well, I've been in television a lot longer than I was in radio, but I think, in radio or in television, when we do go out and report, and interview people, we're listening to people,
right.
And we're thinking, because you may miss a great follow-up question, there may be something they said you just didn't know, and you miss a lot if you don't listen. If you're simply thinking of the next question you're going to ask, then that's a problem. So
totally agree.
That's interesting. Josh David, amazing. This was fun to watch. Looking forward to the next episode.
Good. Thanks,
Thank
man.
you very much.
We appreciate that.
Rich Beer. Rich, this was awesome. Looking forward to the next one.
Steve Beer.
Steve Beer. Gosh,
this
Rich.
is awesome. So they love the podcast thing.
You're Rich. He's Steve.
They like what we're doing, Dave.
Yeah, I can just barely read this. Thank you. That's so nice of people to listen. Douglas Burcham. Rich, I'm a huge fan of The Price is Right. And when you were talking about Bob in the last taping, how you got emotional. I was the same way when I heard in Illinois that Rod passed. I'd love to meet Bob, but with his advanced age and how you and I have talked about how Bob's handlers don't let his personal info out, that probably isn't possible. And I'd probably cry my eyes out when the day comes to Bob passes.
Boy, ditto.
Yeah.
I was going to comment on what he said about his handlers.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, they have changed his phone number. Bob is to the point now, and I don't think I'm letting any cats out of the bag. Bob is to the point now where he's wheelchair bound. His knees are killing him, his back is killing him, and we mentioned earlier you probably won't see him on television, that's for sure, let alone in public,
right.
Unless somebody's outside of a doctor's appointment that he happens to be coming from. Anyway, so he needs assistance, and a couple of years ago they disconnected his phone, and none of us understood why. And a lot of us took it personally, like, why can't I get Bob's phone number? Sure. Well, I talked to his publicist, and he explained to me that nobody has it. Wow. And when Roger's on, I'm going to ask Roger if he even has it. Huh. Roger might be one of the only people that still that has the new phone.
They were
phone
pretty
number.
close.
Very close. Yeah. And I'm guessing that Roger may not even have it, because here was the thinking. When Mr. Barker was getting ready to retire, for the whatever months, I think he announced it in October, so November, December, January, February, March, April, May, we shot 5-6 months of shows at least. Every disc jockey in the country was sharing Mr. Barker's phone number to get him on their radio shows.
Really?
Every morning show in the country, and Bob enjoyed it. He did. Huh. It was so cool if you were a radio guy to dial the number, and you're talking to your listeners on the other end. Oh, we're ringing Bob Barker's home phone number, one ringy-dingy, two ringy-dingy.
Right.
Hello, Bob Barker? Yes. I mean, it was so cool to get Bob on the phone. And when you start talking about, how you doing, Mr. Barker? I'm Joe Blow from such and such radio station, and we just want to say, congratulations on your retirement coming up. And Bob would love it. He'd be out, thank you so much, thank you. And he would go along with whatever DJ was on the air. Huh. Well, these disc jockeys all exchange info.
Yes.
No matter who it is. If you had the number for Otis from Mayberry RFD, you could trade somebody else's number. The town drunk.
I'll give you Otis for Bob.
Not a good trade. Not a good trade. No. You said Alex Trebek for Bob. I think okay.
That's okay.
That one I'd understand. But nobody has contact. I've talked to Kathy Greco, longtime producer with Roger. She doesn't have it.
Really?
Yeah. And I said, no, Kathy, you don't have to give it to me. But do you have it? No, I do not have it. I've tried calling him a million times. Disconnected. We cannot get a hold of Bob.
Well, he's up there in years, and he deserves to have a...
He'll be 99 this December.
Yeah.
99. Is that right? Yeah. 99.
He deserves to live out his life in some privacy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so the only way, somebody said to me recently, well, how would you contact Bob if you had to or wanted to or wanted to, give him something for his birthday? Well, I mail him. I don't hear back from him anymore, but I know he's getting the letters. I'm sure somebody else is probably reading them to him. But, I just kind of keep in touch with him about Christine and our lives, actually, and stuff. But I would have to go by his house, literally.
Yeah. Wow.
To knock on the door to see Bob.
Sure.
And I'm sure that, whoever answered the door, I'd have to explain who I was.
Right.
And they'd probably close the door and then say, Mr. Barker so-and-so is here, is it okay? So, but that'd be the only way to contact him, that's for sure.
You know, he was so spry for so long. You just kind of,
know.
and you think, oh, this guy's going to live forever, and he has. He's lived.
I know,
99.
it's shocking.
Wow.
It's shocking when we see photos of him in public now. You know, after his back surgery and stuff, he just looks so frail and so bad.
Sure.
Not how you want to remember him, but
No. But that's life.
that's life, isn't it?
Justin Walker writes, I wish I had the original seat covers that said the price is right. Green covers.
Green covers.
Wonder what happened to those.
I can kind of tell you what happened to those because I asked about those.
Did you take?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Didn't get 'em?
I only wanted one, Dave. And
Did you get one?
No, I did not. Here's what I've deduced. No one has told me this, and I don't know this for fact, but this is what I've deduced in talking to stagehands, prop guys, what do you call art directors and stuff, that they were going to change them out.
Yeah.
And they pulled them off the 4 seats in Bidders Row, put them aside, put the new ones on. I think they were blue backgrounds. Somebody will correct me.
Yeah.
And when they went to get the green ones to put them in storage for throwback shows or whatever they want to do, one was missing.
Oh.
Already. Like that morning.
Do you think your dad took it?
Ah, Dad, we've painted you out to be quite the criminal, haven't we? I don't know. I don't know who took it, but
it was not there. So they needed 2.
Well, somebody took 1.
Yeah, so they needed 2 to look alike, I guess, basically, right?
Needed 4.
4? Oh, 4. Yeah.
There's 4 seats in contestant row, so I don't know.
Yeah.
They put those 3 away, and I guess they'll just have a 3rd one made. They were, you know, if you were to see them, they're pretty, I won't say crummy, but, you know, they were just made of some kind of stretchy felt that went over the chair back, you know.
Made them just to look good on TV.
Yeah. Everything in Hollywood is made to look good on TV.
Sure. Smoke and mirrors.
You come around the slightest edge of it, oh my God, forget about it. I think somebody wrote one recently this morning. I'll bring it up on our next Q&A. Rich, show some photos of behind the stage.
Yes.
Because nobody ever gets to see that. So I'll get you some of those photos.
Yeah,
as
well, he got to see behind the stage because he and his father broke in when they were young. Before you were an announcer. That's incredible. Nick Michael writes, love this, Rich, exclamation point. Thank you. Russ Yeomans writes.
Russ Yeomans, yeah.
Excellent shot of host Bob Barker and announcer Rich Fields.
Oh, he's talking about the photo of Bob signing the script for me on his 50th anniversary celebration. You look how happy I am. I'm like thrilled, man. Look how happy Bob is. I mean, he was happy to do it, so. Yeah, cool stuff.
And this is that was kind of the way he dressed when he came in, kind of casually like that, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, with his Cubs duffel bag in his hand and his suits over his shoulder. Yeah, there was no wardrobe for Bob to go to. He brought his own. He would have all his suits tailored, handmade.
Really?
Yeah.
Why didn't he just leave him there?
They were his clothes.
Yeah, so he didn't leave them.
And remember, his dressing room was used by other hosts when the show wasn't being.
That's a good point.
I mean, they could have put him away for him. They could have found some place back in a wardrobe for him, but he liked to, kind of like what I do. I mean, probably what you do. I don't know. All these years. I mean, do you get your outfit out in the morning and go, let's see, well, I'm going to wear a blue suit today, and what tie's going to look good with that?
I do.
Bob liked doing that. So he wanted it his way.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one Rod Roddy who has an entire garage full of. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Kind of a repeat question from Kieran
What's that?
Mangan. Rich, are you still in touch with Bob Barker? We talked about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Jay Davis writes, I watched yesterday and enjoyed the content. Hearing Rich get behind the scenes at 18 was hilarious. Looking forward to more stories. And that's Rich. Was that the breaking and entering?
That was the breaking and entering. Yeah, that was the stalking situation.
And his father, who, is he still serving time or is he?
Dad passed away in 2009,
right.
And God, it was great. I mean, he could talk his way into anything and anywhere, but just this, we got in, and just this one time, I mean, you know, when it comes to a real authority, you don't lie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
You just say, oh, we're guests.
You know, but that's a dad doing anything he could to get his.
Isn't it though?
Yeah, have his son's dream come true.
Look what happened.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Right. Kyle Slingo writes, love this, Rich Fields. You are so blessed and lucky to have these wonderful mementos you can cherish from your time on The Price is Right. Thank you, Kyle.
He's talking about the Rod Roddy jackets, the shell game pieces.
Look at that. Cool.
That's actually how it sits at home on
kidding.
on one of the desks, one of the credenzas there.
Aw.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned that shell game was, somebody corrected me on this as well, was 3 shells.
Yes.
And again, I'm trying to tell Dave a story, and I forget the little details. It was 4 shells.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, there's people out there that know every single game. And
Yeah. You get corrected here.
Yeah.
Christopher W. Dahl writes, really enjoyed it. Love hearing old stories and behind the scenes. Thank you for that. Bryson Proctor, hey Rich, I heard that you were considered to be one of the hosts of the syndicated version of Card Sharks.
See, another person about Card
Bill
Sharks.
Rafferty got the job.
Bill
Is that
Rafferty,
true?
right.
Can you talk about it on a future episode, or perhaps you being the announcer for Game Show Marathon, or perhaps your guest announcing gig on Wheel of Fortune?
Well, I wasn't the guest announcer in Wheel of Fortune. I was. Oh, yes, Wheel of Fortune.
Yes.
Again, I thought Flamingo Fortunes for a second. He talked about Card Sharks first. We talked about the photo and how people got confused with that. Flash forward to some years later, I think it was 2006. This is me on Card Sharks.
Wow.
Yeah, this is during, and it's who wrote this, by the way?
That was Bryson Proctor.
Bryson, really good. Game Show Marathon was a summer replacement series that CBS did, and it was 7 game shows inside of one big show. Was it 7 or 6? Again, they'll correct me.
Was that the Ricky Lake?
Yes,
Well,
exactly
okay,
right.
yeah.
There you go. Ricky Lake, exactly right. Ricky Lake was the host. This is her and I on the set of Press Your Luck.
Yeah.
And not only was I the announcer on all of these shows, which is how I got the dubious distinction of announcing the most game show titles in a single season.
Wow.
Was from this game show
And
marathon.
how many is that game shows again?
It was 6 during this game show marathon. You know what? I could probably get on the internet and find out real quick, but that would take me some time and it would take away from viewers. But but I think it was 6 shows or 7. 7. It was 7 shows because on top of that I've done Wheel 8 plus Flamingo Fortune 9. I've done 9. I've lent my voice to 9 game shows over my lifetime. So it was 7 shows. Boy, try to ask me what they were. Beat the Clock, Press Your Luck, Price is Right, Family Feud, Beat the Clock.
I thought you said.
Did I say Beat the Clock already?
I think you did. You're so
Family
many.
Feud, Beat the Clock. There's so many.
Well, I'm sure somebody out there will.
They'll remind us.
Remind you.
And you know, people are like, God Almighty, how could this guy have worked on all these shows and not remember? Because I worked on all these shows, and as you leave one, there's another one right away, and you know you're into that one, and you just don't. At least I don't. I don't retain all the minute.
It's tough. It's tough. And someone also asked if you were also the host of the Come On Down podcast.
Yes, I was at one time. I was at one
Aren't
time.
you with that dude?
Yeah, that dude, Dave Wagner. So Ricky Lake and I, through the entire thing, and not only was I the announcer on those 7 shows during Game Show Marathon, but I was also the host of CBS.com at the time.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing double duty the entire time.
Wow.
When we were down and the warm-up guy was out talking to the audience, I was cutting bits and pieces for CBS.com, which these things would air on the internet. And so I was constantly working. I'd be running in and out of the crowd, you know, doing stuff, doing little bits. So this is all me really working on Game Show Marathon, but as the host, you'll know that. Where's that curtain from? You gotta recognize that curtain, ain't it?
Oh, here.
Let's make a deal.
How about that?
Yeah, so that's me peeking out of the curtain. Let's make a deal.
That's number 2.
Let's Make a Deal was also the show, by the way, where one of the shows where I got a chance to work with
Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah. How about that?
I did the wrong thing. There we go. Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert. I'm actually saying to Gilbert in these series of photos, and what are you doing here on on Beat the Clock? And Gilbert says, well, I'm the Zonk. You remember when there was a Well, Gilbert was the Zonk. He'd be behind the curtain or under the box that when it was a Zonk, it was Gilbert Gottfried.
People loved him.
He was, you know what? He talked funny.
Yeah.
You know, that Affleck, that Affleck voice.
He was a character.
But in real life, he didn't do that.
Yeah.
He wasn't that kind of voice. So we're backstage, and there's a couple of wave runners, and I said to Gilbert, "Let's get on these wave runners," and you know, and so that's us.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, just mucking it up for CBS.com and the cameras. But
that's awesome.
he was such a pleasant man. And then we worked again on another game show hosted by Penn Jillette. He and I were both like celebrity contestants on it, and that was called.
He's the one that does talk.
Yes, he's the one that does talk. He's the one that does talk. You're exactly right.
Oh, that's so cool. You know, do we have anything else here?
There's the logo from Game Show
Marathon.
Marathon.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a really, really, really popular show. This is Ricky and I during a segment.
What was she like?
Ricky was fantastic. She was really personable and sweet.
Oh, look who! Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that
lots of celebrities. Leslie Nielsen.
He is just such an iconic actor, isn't he?
Yeah, totally. There was so many. You know,
wow.
There were so many celebrity guests on that show. It was crazy. Lance Bass, you know, all these things. Oh, Beat the Clock. Here's a Beat the Clock photo on the stage of Beat the Clock. But yeah, it was quite the time. Game Show Marathon.
Look at that picture of you. You look 14 feet tall.
He's a giant. He's a giant, ladies and gentlemen. He's huge. There's some other questions here. Let's see. We have one more question.
Do you? This is from David St. Dennis, which sounds like a radio name, doesn't it? David St. Dennis.
Or a reporter. I'm David St. Dennis live. You know what I mean?
Yep. I like that. David St. Dennis.
Are you going to change?
WTSP.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think we got a place for you, David.
Coming up the cars. Yeah. This is David St. Dennis on WTSP.
Q105, I'm David St. Dennis.
Okay. David St. Dennis says, a question for next episode. If you had to pick 3 favorite TPIR pricing games, what will it be?
Well, I tell you, number 1 right away would be Plinko.
Yep.
I think that's a fan favorite anyway for everybody. Everybody loves Plinko. Easy is 1, 2, 3 because it is really easy to win in that game. And after that, it's really kind of a toss-up, you know. The third one, I don't know. I'd have to think that one through. I'll regret it after I say it, but I would say maybe Shell Game.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I hope he's not talking about games that are currently on, because some of these aren't even on anymore.
The Price is Right.
Since
pricing
COVID,
games,
since COVID, they've really scaled down on.
And which one do you think is the easiest win?
I think easy as 1, 2, 3 is pretty easy.
Is it?
Yeah. But Plinko, everybody loves Plinko. It's really exciting. It's a chance to win, 10 grand with each chip, and Plinko's a lot of fun.
There was the putting game that they bought.
Which I got to do the inspirational putt one time. It was not during the Bob Barker era. I happened to be at lunch with Drew Carey one day, and he was talking about, I hate taking that putt, and I miss it all the time. It makes me look bad.
Because Bob was good.
Bob was good. And he said, have you ever, I know he's had some of the models do it before. Have you ever, Bob? I said, no, he never gave me the chance. And Drew didn't say anything about it. And then some weeks later, then the game came up, and he said, hey, Rich Fields, come on over here. And he called me out, and
How'd you do?
I nailed it, Dave. I did not. I missed it. Missed it way bad, man. By the way, I had, during this last week, I had a Zoom meeting with the head of our marketing department here at WTSP Channel 10 and a couple of CBS executives.
Oh.
And immediately I thought, are we in trouble?
Oh, sure. And it's not the only time in his life he's been in trouble. I mean,
I'm so used to being called in by CBS executives. It's unbelievable, man. You don't even know. I'm sure no announcer in the history of The Price is Right was called in by CBS executives as many times as me.
Was it like this when you were a child going to the principal's office too? Did you?
Dave, can I tell you something, man? I've been picked on my whole life by the authorities.
Have you picked on? Maybe just caught.
Here. Okay, so here's what principals and I went to Catholic grade school. Here's what the nuns would say all the time. And they would call him my dad. They'd make me stay after school for whatever offense whatever offense they manufactured. And they'd call him my dad, and they'd say, Mr. Fields, your son Richard has an excuse for everything.
Oh.
And and they'd turn to me and they go, "Why is that?" And my dad's, you're my dad, okay? Yes. And I'm the nun, and they'd be like, "Why is that?" And I would say, "What do you mean? Isn't having an excuse better than not having one at all?" Oh, not what you want to be saying. You know what I mean? So I was always in trouble for something.
Yeah.
And I never thought I was doing anything, egregiously wrong.
Yeah.
I might have been skirting the.
Right. You're good at skirting things. This man is good at skirting the law and dumpster diving. Those are two things
if you only knew about dumpster diving, man. If you only knew.
He's gotten so many things out of the garbage from Price is Right. Things that everybody out there would love to have.
If I only knew about dumpster diving at CBS before that podium went in there, I'd have a whole lot more.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny.
Let's see. I'm trying to look real quick, and I'm sorry I'm looking while we're on the air.
Keith Wilson right here.
Did you do Keith?
Yes, we watched this. Yeah, we read that.
There's one that talks about autistic folks. Did we?
No, we didn't
put
that
up?
No, we haven't yet.
That wasn't Keith, huh?
Nope.
Shoot. Kyle Slingo. So lucky to have all this stuff. Yeah.
This is Meisner. Yeah, we talked to.
Did we get that one? Anyway, somebody wrote in and said, that's John again. Sorry, we're crowding the camera there, but we're trying to get in there to look and see what's going
You
on.
don't be bad eyes.
Best background I've ever seen.
Bobby Deskins, our chief meteorologist here.
We're live on YouTube right now.
It's so colorful.
Well, we used to have a green screen, and with a colored
black and white?
with
Are
a
we
colored
color,
with a
or
colored
is-
background. No, but see, we opted for no green screen today.
Yeah, we're going
The
we're
world,
going simple
Bobby
here.
Deskins, the world.
Yeah.
But you already know about
world.
Bobby because I touted his praises over the weekend on Facebook Live. Best meteorologist I've ever worked with in my life. That's the honest to God truth.
It's a short
Him and
list,
Grant.
though. You got to tell me.
Him and
It's a
Grant.
short
No,
list.
I've worked at a few places. So,
I'm going to be behind door number 3.
are you the zonk?
Yeah, we'll get a padlock for that door, Bobby.
Oh boy. So,
But somebody talking about autistic
yeah,
kids
somebody
and
had
some
wrote in and
viewers.
said, "Thank
Yeah.
you so very much for even mentioning this. Nobody talks about us."
Right.
And I don't know if that's true, but I mean, I'm thankful we did.
Right.
But I don't think I answered your question when you said, "What did Mr. Barker tell you about our special viewers out there?" And I don't think I gave you the exact quote, and that was, "Be nice, be nice to them." And I probably would have anyway. But they're a special part. They were, and I'm sure still are, a special part of the Price is Right. And they were for Bob. He appreciated anybody and everybody, not just they watch the show. Anybody with a disability or a handicap at all, he absolutely wanted to help
Yeah,
out.
there is, in my experience with some viewers who are friends of mine who watch game shows, it's described as rigidity of thought. They get so obsessed with a game show that it is very much a part of their lives. When they miss one, they feel uncomfortable. It makes them edgy. When it goes off the air, if it's not in reruns, then suddenly it's difficult for them. That's been my experience with two of my good friends who are into game shows and they're autistic savants, twin sisters. So I think I can see where there would be viewers like that, and it's so nice of Bob to point that kind of thing out.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up. I think it was on the last episode too, because I do want to acknowledge those folks out there. There's a lot of them, and they've been with me for years and years, whether I've been on the show or not. So it's still great to have them as friends, out there on social media as well.
That's so cool. When you look at around your home, and you've got a lot of memorabilia there. Is there one piece of memorabilia you look at and say that is the most meaningful piece of memorabilia to me?
The podium, I think, is probably the most meaningful piece, but the one I kind of really treasure, too, really, is Bob's mic, because he gave it to me.
That is so cool. That little tiny, what do they
telescoping
call it? Is that what they call
mic.
it? Telescoping mic?
And I don't even know if that was the model of mic Bob used on the show. I honestly believe that that mic that you may have seen last episode, I think that mic came from his days of Truth or Consequences.
No kidding.
Yeah. I don't think that was a Stage 33 mic. When he gave it to me, he said he thought maybe Gene Rayburn has used it as well.
Wow.
I disagree. Gene's was a little thicker and a little fatter, and it didn't telescope. Gene's was just long. But that particular mic that you saw Bob give to me was a smaller mic, not as big as the ones they had used, but nonetheless, it came from Bob, so I didn't care. I was just going to look for it real quick here for you so that you could see what I was talking about. It's this mic here, for folks that didn't see the last episode.
Wow.
That's the mic there that Mr. Barker gave to me at his house, and you know, if you're a fan of The Price is Right, maybe you recognize this from the early days.
Sure.
But I think it's actually a mic from his days at Truth or Consequences. Do you remember Truth or Consequences?
Of course I do.
Truth
Oh, yeah.
or Consequences. That's another guy. Remember I was fascinated with voices?
Yes.
That's another guy I would imitate.
Really, no kidding.
Yeah. And so it was that guy's voice that got me to watch the show, and that's how I got around to liking Bob Barker
Yeah.
as the host of Truth or Consequences. So when he got Price is Right, I naturally graduated to that, and then that was it. It was over.
So, beyond Bob Barker, who's your favorite, game show host?
Beyond Bob, I loved Peter Tamarkin, the host of Press Your Luck,
Right.
who passed away, unfortunately, doing a Mercy plane ride. He was taking some organs. He had a private plane, and this is long after Press Your Luck. He would fly out of Santa Monica Airport, and he'd take a cooler of organs wherever they needed
Wow.
to go.
Wow.
You know, in the nick of time. Somebody's having a transplant, somebody's passed away, they take it, boom,
Wow.
they fly it right away.
Wow.
And so he was on one of these Mercy flights and crashed his plane
No kidding.
in the Pacific. So,
Yeah.
so Peter Tamarkin, I liked him a lot just because of his personality.
Yeah.
He was always so up and happy. Bob Eubanks, same
Oh, yeah.
thing because of his personality.
Oh, yeah.
Up, happy all the time. Kind of a smart aleck, almost too much of a smart
Bob
aleck.
Eubanks?
Bob Eubanks.
Oh, you can see that.
Almost too much
It
of a
came out
smart
on
aleck
the air.
for me. But the first time I met Bob Eubanks, he said, is Bob Barker still in his old dressing room? I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, I taped something there, and I got to use that. And I went around and took all his pictures and turned them upside down on him. I wonder if he ever noticed that. And I was like, I hope not, Mr. Eubanks, because that's not what you do to Bob's dressing room.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't go in there and mess around. But
Oh, sure.
there was like a collegial, yes, camaraderie, but yet a
Rivalry?
Yes,
Yeah.
a little bit. Bob. These guys are all out doing these little game shows, and then all of a sudden Bob comes on the scene and kaboom, you know what I
Right.
mean? That's a technical term, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard it.
It's a
Yeah,
game show
yeah.
term. And and Bob was so popular. Price is Right was so popular. I don't think I can name one I don't like. Wink Martindale
Yeah.
was one of my all-time
He was a big
favorites.
one, right?
Loved Wink.
Great voice, yeah.
Worked with Wink. Wink and I did a pilot called Telethon for Three Ball Productions in
Oh.
LA, which I have a ton of pictures from.
Yeah.
Somebody again today. I was looking. We need a producer for this show.
Yes, we do.
We really do.
We do.
I can't keep up with everything.
I know somebody who,
You know,
who just died to do it.
He walks in like a star seconds before the show goes on. How do you think all this happens, man?
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of like you going out there. It's like, boom, you're on the air.
Yes,
this is a man who seconds before air is dumpster diving, retrieving Price is Right memorabilia that ends up in the dumpster. So, you've pushed it to the limit before.
Somebody asked about how much time do we have? Because Dave's got work to do, I know. But real quick, somebody asked about Flamingo Fortune.
Yes.
And yes, that was my first game show ever, and
Yeah.
it was the State Florida Lottery game show, and I was the announcer for it. But from Flamingo Fortune, not only did I get a chance to say that I worked for Mark Goodson Productions, but 3 people in that show ended up being kind of, I won't say critical. One of them ended up being a model on The Price is Right.
Oh.
The co-host was a model on The Price is Right. Here's a cast photo from I think season 3.
Oh, wow.
Of the show.
Look at that.
And
What year was this, you think?
oh God, Dave, you'd have to ask me that, wouldn't you?
Okay.
I don't know.
Back in the 90s?
Yeah, I'd say early to mid 90s.
Okay.
And if
Yeah.
you say where's Rich Fields,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Where's Rich Fields?
He is right there.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Look at that.
And then I'm going to show you another guy. That's Andy Bobian. Andy Bobian was the director of Flamingo Fortune.
Wow.
For Fremantle Media.
Oh, how cool.
I'll get to why that's cool in a minute. And then there's a guy named Bart Eskander. Bart was the assistant director and later became the director of The Price is Right.
No kidding.
Not kidding. I'm gonna.
Wow.
I'll talk one more bit.
Oh, I can't wait to hear more about
in a
this.
minute about that. The third person was Lisa Stahl Sullivan. She was the co-host of the show, and she was a model on the nighttime version of The Price is Right. I believe with was it Dennis James?
Wow. Wow.
And so anyway, there's quite the Price is Right history. Remember, it was a Mark Goodson game
Yes,
show.
yep.
So the 3 of us, it's hard to see with the 3 arrows. There we are in that photo
Yes.
there. But let me just go back to
They knew you. They knew you.
when I got there.
Yeah.
When I got to The Price is Right,
Right.
yeah. Bart Eskander, Bart ends up becoming the director of The Price is Right. So now Roddy passes away.
Yeah.
So now I have a shot at going in and auditioning. And I never put two and two together in my head.
Wow.
That Bart was
Yeah.
my old associate director
Wow.
from Flamingo Fortune.
Yeah.
Well, here it comes. It's about decision time as to who they're going to pick. And as a matter of fact, I've just been picked as the new announcer. I actually have the job. I don't know if I've shot a show yet or not. And Bart Iskander comes up to me and he says, God, I'm so happy it's you. I'm so thrilled it's you. He goes, I went into Barker and I said, Bob, I guess we're down to it, huh? Where you make a decision on who it's going to be. And Bob says, well, yeah, I think it's going to be so-and-so. And I'm not going to say who that was. And Bart says, what? You're kidding me. No, Bob, no, not that person.
I know it was me. And that Dave Wagner.
It was that guy.
Yeah, the dude.
He'll never get away from that. So, and Bart says, oh, God, no. His warm-up was horrible. He was out of breath, by the time it came time to go on the show with that 15 minutes of warm-up.
Right.
He was trying to act too much like Roddy, whatever. He gave all these, this is Bart telling me, I told Bob, I said, no way, Rich Fields, it's got to be Rich Fields. He's the voice. He's a cross between Johnny Olson and Roddy's voice. And
that's great.
And so, and as Bart said that, he said, I remember what a great job you did on Flamingo Fortune.
You didn't put two and two together.
No. And I was like, oh, my God, yes, Bart. Jesus. I couldn't believe it. And then it dawned on me who he was.
It's crazy.
And I hugged him. I hugged him. I said, whatever you said to Mr. Barker, I thank you for, because Bob held it like he held Roger's opinion in high regard. He held Bart's in high regard as well.
Wow.
And maybe Roger can confirm or deny that. This is Bart telling me the story.
Right.
So
Right.
It'll be nice to have Roger on and say, did some of this behind the scenes stuff go on? Was there going to be another guy? And then all of a sudden it's skewed to somebody else?
Yeah, well, let's hope he's honest and not just nice.
Roger?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, be careful what you ask because you may not want to know. He is that honest. He will tell you absolutely.
I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah.
I love your impersonation of Roger, by the way, when you do an impersonation.
Hi, Rich.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a sweet guy. There's nothing, I'm not making fun of him
No,
or anything.
I love that. Just because I can, after you've shown me his picture, I feel like I know him.
Somebody said in a post yesterday or today that we didn't get to today, when you imitate Roger, you sound like Ronald Reagan. Well, hello. Hi, Rich. Well, yeah, I guess so. There's a little bit there.
Maybe a little bit.
I don't know, but Roger's really cool. I'm definitely going to work on getting all the technical stuff wrapped up.
There's a lot. This is a work in progress.
It is a work in progress.
And we know that first few episodes we're sort of.
CBS Tampa was not ready for this.
No.
When I sprung this on CBS Tampa, they were like, how are we going to do this? I said, you leave that to me. Mm-hmm. And so we got this system where we can go live on any platform we want. And by the way, they've already told me that this is going to expand. This is going to go on Roku and a million other places. The time may change, folks. Right now we're 3 o'clock live Eastern on YouTube. The time may change, and don't worry, we're going to keep you all abreast of what's going on, but they're going to make maximum use out of this. Apparently, I don't know, Dave, it's doing pretty well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for all this email that you're sending. It's great. It's great to hear from you.
Yeah.
It's nice to know you're watching. And it's really great to get your questions because I don't know all these things that you know, and Rich doesn't remember
I don't
some
remember.
of them. So you're our memory bank there, which is great.
You really are. We appreciate it. So remember, Facebook.com/ComeOnDownPodcast. Mm-hmm. Everything you've seen today, photos are going to be on there within 24 hours. Everything we've covered in a past episode is already on there. I don't know if you've had the chance to visit or not. Mm-hmm. And there's 10,000 comments and questions on there. This is just a handful that I quickly took off the internet today.
We'll keep them coming. We'll continue to read these and we really appreciate it.
And next week we're going to go on. We're going to skip with talking about question and answers, and we're going to go to some other pretty cool stuff that I think you're going to be pretty stoked to hear about.
Can't wait to hear it. All right, so join us next week for another episode of
Come On Down.
Thanks for tuning in to Come On Down with Rich Fields. See more photos and videos mentioned on this episode. Plus, interact with Rich on Facebook at facebook.com/ComeOnDownPodcast or on Twitter at ComeOnDownPod. Have a question for Rich? Use Facebook Messenger to connect on our Come On Down podcast Facebook page. And remember, new episodes are live every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern.